Late in the afternoon, the small mountain village was suddenly visited by a group of strangers. They looked rugged, carrying sacks on their shoulders and shovels in their hands. The village chief stepped forward and asked, "Who are you?" The leader politely replied, "We heard there's treasure in the forest. Please allow us to go inside and dig." Tintin's grandfather shook his head and snorted, "Treasure, my foot. Back in my day, I dug plenty, only found snake nests and hornets." Grandmother curled her lips. "Maybe the treasure is just buffalo dung." The villagers burst out laughing. But in the end, the chief let them in. That night, screams tore through the forest. Firelight flickered, then went out. People only saw the shadow of a tall, thin figure with glowing red eyes and long, sharp fangs. A vampire had been accidentally released from its stone tomb. Almost the entire group perished. 10-year-old Tintin stood in the yard, clutching the cat, trembling. Oh no, that's definitely not a bat. The next morning, Tintin grew curious and followed the village exorcist, Master Nguyen Trung. He crouched by the window, holding his breath. Inside, the master was sorting charms, wooden boxes, and incense burners. He picked up each item, muttering, "Useless. This one too." He tossed a piece of wood about 60 centimeters long into the yard, then walked away. Tintin scurried over, eyes gleaming. Whoa, wood from the exorcist's house must be sacred. A wooden sword to slay demons sounds awesome already. He hugged the wood to his chest, grinning like he'd found treasure. Back home in the kitchen, Tintin began his forging. First, protective gear. He plopped a metal pot on his head, looking like a rice cooker knight. Then he yanked off the tablecloth and tied it around his neck as a cape. 6-year-old Na, his little sister, watched and burst out laughing. "Brother, you look more like a scarecrow than a superhero." Tintin raised his chin, deadly serious. "This is Super Demon Slayer. What do you know?" He whittled the wood with a knife, scribbled crooked symbols on it, then held it high. Done! The peachwood demon-slaying sword, an unbeatable relic. Grandparents and parents sat nearby, half worried, half amused. "Mother, be careful, son, you'll cut your hand." "Father, let him be. Who knows, maybe he'll become a carpenter." That night, the village erupted in chaos. Screams, running feet, dogs barking madly. From the edge of the village, the vampire appeared, eyes glowing red. Tintin shook like a leaf, but still raised the wooden sword. "Come on, I'm not scared of you." The monster lunged. Tintin screamed, tripped, and fell flat on his face. The piece of wood accidentally jabbed straight into the vampire's chest. "Shh!" Smoke hissed. The vampire shrieked and stumbled back. Tintin, mouth wide open. "Huh? Oh my gosh, I hit by accident, and it actually worked." Vampire. "You brat, this lousy stick actually." Its fangs dropped one by one, making the villagers both terrified and amused. Another vampire appeared, grabbing Uncle Na. "Help me, it's gonna drain me dry." Tintin trembled but dashed forward, swinging the sword wildly. "Let go of my uncle, you blood-sucking bat." Thwack! He clipped the vampire's ear. It howled and fled. Uncle Na, clutching his chest. "Oh dear heavens, I survived, thanks to a stick." Tintin. "Call it the holy sword, uncle." The next morning, the chief called an emergency meeting. Everyone nervously recalled the dreadful night. Village chief. "We found many corpses on the mountain. Clearly, dark creatures are at work." Tin shot his hand up eagerly. "My uncle and I were attacked by a vampire last night, but I slashed it once with my wooden sword, and it ran off without its shoes." The villagers gasped and murmured. Master Nguyen Trung spoke solemnly. "Tonight, everyone must stay indoors. I'll think of a way to deal with this. Step outside and you'll surely die." Tin leaned over to whisper in Uncle Nya's ear. "Honestly, the master sounds serious, but I don't think he's stronger than my sword." Uncle Nya chuckled nervously. "You're right. Tonight we'll sneak into the forest and track it down." When night fell, Tin put the pot on his head, draped the tablecloth cape, and gripped the wooden sword. Uncle Na carried an oil lamp, shaking. The two crept into the forest. The chirp of insects filled the air. The wind hissed coldly. A dark shadow darted past. "Uncle, that wasn't a cat, was it?" Suddenly, a chilling laugh rose behind them. "Caw, so it's the brat from last night again." The vampire emerged, eyes blazing. Tin clutched his holy sword, stammering, "Today, I'm even stronger than yesterday." The story was only beginning, promising a wild adventure both terrifying and hilarious. The forest grew thicker and darker as the night deepened, the wind howling like someone was whispering right into their ears. Uncle Utno clutched the oil lamp with trembling hands, while Tin Tin looked a little braver, though the pot on his head kept going clank clank with every step, turning the scary atmosphere strangely comical. The vampire emerged from the shadows, eyes glowing red like embers, fangs sharp and gleaming. It squinted at Tin Tin and sniffed. Vampire. So it's you again, the rice cooker knight. Hey, this is an anti-vampire helmet, not a rice cooker. But it really does look exactly like one. The vampire roared and lunged forward. Tin Tin swung his wooden sword wildly. Whack! By sheer luck, it hit the vampire right on the butt. Vampire! You brat, you dare, hit my butt! Whoa, I think that's the legendary butt-slaying strike, Uncle. Laughing so hard his dentures nearly fell out. My goodness, that's the power of the holy sword! The vampire jumped up, rubbing its rear furiously, fuming. It screeched and summoned reinforcements. From the trees, 3 or 4 more figures crawled out, their red eyes glowing like flashlights. Tin Tin gulped hard, whispering, Tin Tin, Uncle, there's too many. What do we do now? Uncle Utno, don't worry, I've got a secret move. He pulled out a handful of garlic and started chucking them everywhere. Unfortunately, one clove flew straight into Tin Tin's mouth. Uncle! Vampires. Covering their noses. Ah, garlic, curse you! They staggered back, hissing. Tin Tin spat out the garlic and shouted boldly. That's right. With my wooden sword and my uncle's garlic, we're an infinite combo. You guys are finished. The lead vampire roared and lunged again. Tin Tin panicked and swung his sword blindly. But this time, the sword suddenly glowed, crackling with lightning-like sparks. The vampire shrieked, smoke pouring from its body, then collapsed, motionless. Uncle Utno gawked. No. Tin, did you just unlock a hidden skill? Tin, maybe because I ate the garlic earlier, the sword powered up. The rest of the vampires howled and fled into the forest, vanishing into the darkness. Tin Tin stood tall, raising the wooden sword triumphantly, looking cooler than ever. Tin Tin, from now on, call me the Holy Rice Cooker Knight! Uncle Utno clapped while chuckling, but then, whoosh, the oil lamp went out. Darkness swallowed them whole. Out of the pitch black, a cold, eerie voice whispered, You've only fought my underlings. The true master still sleeps beneath the earth. Tin Tin and Uncle Utno both gulped loudly, their faces pale as sheets. In the forest, the wind howled like 1,000 ghosts screaming in unison. Tin Tin, wearing his trusty cooking pot on his head, clutched his wooden sword with trembling hands, while Uncle Utno carried an oil lamp that shook with every step. Suddenly, the ground rumbled. A black coffin burst open, and from inside rose the vampire overlord, eyes blazing red, cloak billowing dramatically. He roared, Foolish humans, you dare awaken me? Tonight your blood will be my banquet wine. Tin Tin gulped loudly. Uncle, I think he's serious. Uncle Utno's face went pale. Yeah, he definitely isn't joking. The overlord charged, but Tin Tin swung wildly with his wooden sword and, by sheer luck, sliced open the vampire's outer cloak, revealing a pair of pink polka dot shorts shining underneath. Tin Tin's jaw dropped. Wait, what kind of cute shorts are those? Even the lesser vampires froze, some snickering. The overlord's face turned purple with rage. Silence! These are ritual battle shorts. Just then, a blinding white light flared. Nguyen Dao Trung, the village exorcist, strode forward, whisk in hand, his voice echoing. Evil fiends, tonight is your end. He chanted, sweeping his whisk. Holy light spread across the forest. The vampires screeched, smoke hissing from their bodies. The horde panicked and lunged straight at Tin Tin. The boy yelled, Eat this, garlic chili ultimate combo. Uncle Utno hurled a bag full of garlic and chili at them. Tin Tin dashed forward, swinging the sacred sword wildly. Each strike lit up like fireworks, sparks flying everywhere. Thwack, whack, thud. One by one, vampires shrieked, crumbling into ash that scattered on the wind. Finally, the overlord roared and lunged straight at Tin Tin. The boy shut his eyes and swung with all his might. The wooden blade blazed with dazzling light, stabbing right into the vampire's chest. Sst! A thunderous crack rang out. The overlord howled in agony as his body burst into flames, disintegrating into black ash. The rest of the vampires wailed in terror, exploding into dust along with their master. Within moments, the forest fell silent. Guan Dao Trung lowered his whisk, breathing heavily. It's done. The vampires are gone. The village is safe once more. Tin Tin jumped up, waving his wooden sword proudly. See that? From now on, call me the legendary pot helmet sword saint. Uncle Utnaw clapped wildly. True. Without you, kid, I'd be sucked dry like an orange already. Later, the villagers gathered to hear the story. They were horrified, yet laughing so hard when they learned the vampires had been slain by a pot-headed boy armed with garlic, chili, and a holy wooden stick. That night, under the bright moon, the little mountain village finally returned to peace.